Hello, this is Andrew Dugill with Hoffman Realty, Tampa Property Management, and this blog is called What to Do If a Scammer Advertises Your Rental Property in Tampa. So the background to this is beware. Criminals are attempting to steal from potential renters using rental scams on Craigslist, Zillow and Trulia. It's a huge problem in the Tampa Bay area right now. The scammers scrape the content of legitimate rental advertisements off the internet and then generate their own advertisements using the same photos and descriptions, but with different contact information. Usually they advertise a lower rent of 60 to 80% of the legitimate rent, which of course generates lots of interested prospects. When someone contacts them about renting the property, they have a story to cover up their scam. They're out of town or out of the country on missionary work. They just fired their real estate agent as they priced the rental property too high, so ignore their sign in the yard. They have taken over the marketing of the home themselves. Now sometimes they are local and break into the property and leave the back door unlocked. Sometimes they even change the locks. Usually they are out of state or overseas and they ask the prospect to visit the property and look in the windows. We know that because someone contacted us last year who was instructed to drive by and look in the windows. Only problem was when they got to the property, they realized it was an 11th floor of a condo tower, and they called our office when they realized it was a scam. Another method is to get the prospect to view the property with a real estate agent or using the real estate agent's lockbox system, but to only follow up with them if they like the property, as they will offer them a much lower rent if the agent isn't involved. Whatever the story, the end result is to get the prospect to wire them funds for the rent or for the deposit. Once this happens, the victim will never hear from them again and the money is lost. There are some heartbreaking stories of families moving into their dream home thinking they have a lease only to find out they've been scammed and have to vacate the property after losing their savings. It's just horrible. So what can you do if you're a landlord, and what can you do if you're a tenant about this? Well, if you're a landlord, the best thing you can do is to get your property rent ready, which means well maintained, looking good and clean, then price it right as soon as you put it on the market. If your property is rent ready and priced right, it will rent quickly and not be sitting vacant. The longer your property is sitting vacant, the more opportunity for criminals to use your property for rental scams. Visit your property regularly. Look for signs of forced entry or doors and windows being left unlocked. I visited a property we managed last year and found my keys didn't work. Someone had gained entry to the property and changed the locks. I immediately called our locksmith who changed the locks. Then, an hour later, my office received an angry call from a young couple attempting to move into the property as their key would not work. Unfortunately, the mother had wired money to Africa and they thought they had a lease. Now, fortunately, we were able to work with them and the landlord and found a way to rent to them. In fact, they just signed a new lease for a second lease term, so that story at least has a happy ending. If you're a tenant, the best thing you can do is never, ever wire money to an out-of-town or out-of-country landlord. Other things you can do. If it seems like a really good deal, be suspicious. You've heard of the saying, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Do a Google search on the address and look for other advertisements for the same property. If it is listed for rent with a real estate company at a higher rent, the lower rent price is probably a scam. If you find it listed for sale, contact the sales agent to find out why the property owner also has it listed for rent. It could be legitimate, but usually it will be a rental scam. Don't hand over money or your personal information unless you have researched the landlord or the real estate company and know they are legitimate. I recommend physically delivering the security deposit to their offices to check them out. This way you make sure they exist and can even take a photo of the person who accepts your funds if you're still not sure. The final thing that both landlords and tenants can do if money is stolen is to report the incident to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. I really hope this would help just one person now not become a victim of a rental scam. So this is Andrew Dugill with Hoffman Realty, Tampa Property Manager, and if you have questions about this blog, we'll be happy to hear from you.